Hey guys, in this video we're covering how expensive it is in Panama.
You're watching Outside is Calling. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Jesse.
And we've been traveling full-time for nearly 2 years.
We escaped our 9-to-5 jobs, became digital nomads, and we're even in a documentary.
Check out OutsideIsCalling.com in the description below if you'd like to know more.
We've been living in Panama for 3 months and have gotten a ton of questions from people asking us what it's like.
We've created an entire series answering those questions and more. So subscribe so you don't miss any.
And for those of our longtime RV subscribers, even if you don't want to go to Panama, please stick around because next month we'll have a lot of videos about taking our big ol' honkin' RV down into Mexico. Sure, there's plenty of all-inclusive resorts with all the luxuries, but those things come at a premium and the costs add up pretty quick. In this video, we're going to share how you can have those same luxuries for as little as $45 a day, and for people willing to forego some of those luxuries, even less. For those people that are just looking to go spend some money and have a good time for a week or two, you know, this may not be as important. You can sure watch this and find some ways to save money. But for those of you who want to go longer, you know, what if you could spend that same amount of money you'd spend in 1 or 2 weeks, but instead go for a month? And these are some of the methods that we've used in order to make our dollars stretch and yet have a great place at an affordable price. Once we locked in the area we wanted to go to, the beaches and the surfing spots we wanted to go, we started looking for places for rent, and we didn't find a whole lot at first. And in fact, Jenny's the one who found an ad on Craigslist. And Craigslist isn't that popular in Panama, but there are some expats down there, some Americans, Canadians, and other nationalities that do use Craigslist. Initially, we found a 2-bedroom, 2-bath house on the beach. It was like a compound of 3 houses, but it was a small house on the beach with private beach access. And that was $800 per month, is that right? Mm-hmm.
Yep, the only catch you could say was that the whole kitchen was an outdoor kitchen.
Yeah, and it sounded kind of weird at first, but once we got down to Panama, it's not uncommon because it's very comfortable year-round there.
Hi! We made it to Panama, 2 days of travel, but we are here. Come check out our place. Yes.
So Vincent just dropped us off and brought us from Panama City to here, this little town called El Palmar. And this is Casa Tarzana. And it's perfect little beach side getaway.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so here is the bedroom. We'll have a pack and play that we just got for Tucker. We have a nice view of the water and the yard. Super cool bathroom and a happy room. So we have a pretty cool outdoor kitchen. We weren't sure what it was going to be like from the pictures, but this is perfect. It has everything we need. You push. Oh, thank you. The next home that we rented was also a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, but the kitchen and the living room everything was indoors, and this particular home was directly on the beach. So we had a beachfront view this time. Now for this house, it was a bit more. It was $1,300 a month.
But the views.
I'm slowly moving all of our food from our old place into the new one. Trying to find a home for everything since we'll be here for, what, 2.5 months, 2 months or so?
Yeah.
Gotta make it home.
We're spectacular. I mean, yeah. You laying in your bed in the master bedroom, looking right out in the ocean. Pretty cool.
And we paid for it.
Yeah, it wasn't free.
But some of the other homes that we saw, there was a home next to ours that was for rent. It was a little bit smaller. It wasn't as close to the beach as ours was, but that was only about $600 a month. There were some smaller apartment efficiencies in downtown Coronado, so that's about 10 minutes to the beach. Those were going for as little as $200 a month. I don't know if those had AC. But rents were, I mean, all over the place. You could really pick something within your budget, and I feel like you could find something that would work for you.
Exactly. Yeah, there's all kinds of price points, but definitely compared to we're from Cocoa Beach, Florida, is kind of our base camp. and there's plenty of beach condos and houses that you can rent there. And comparatively, we can't say the same for real estate, but for rentals, the prices for rentals were way better than it would be in Florida. So initially, we actually did a wire transfer to lock in that first smaller 2-bedroom home, and that was kind of complicated and it was kind of a pain in the butt. And actually, I'll let Jenny talk about it because she's the one who went to the bank. How did it go down?
Yeah, so we use a local credit union and they were super helpful, but it was a little bit awkward trying to figure out how to make a wire transfer to Panama. Now, we were using a property manager, but she used, I think, her personal bank account for us to make the transfer. And so I'm sure it could have been much more simple. It was a bit confusing for us. And then to top it all off, there was a $40 wire transfer fee that we were charged because it was international. So that was kind of a bummer.
And yeah, so we've learned that there's so many different fees we didn't know about when you start moving money internationally. And we've also learned from this how to kind of avoid some of those. And so while that first house, the deposit essentially, that was a wire transfer, we learned that once we got to Panama, it was actually much better than, rather than doing more transfers from our U.S. bank back down to Panama, it was actually cheaper to just go to the ATM and pay the ATM transaction fee and get money out that way. We had a $500 limit on our ATM transaction, and so it was also a $5 fee on this end in Panama and $250 fee for the bank in Florida. So it cost us $750 per $500, which turns in at about 1.5%. That wire transfer fee and all those other fees we did before, I think, were closer to about 5% charges and stuff. And so even though we were paying, a good chunk of money, like $750 for using the ATM, it was actually a lot cheaper compared to the wire transfer fee.
So for groceries in Panama, we ended up kind of spending the same that we would spend in the States. There's plenty of grocery and restaurant options in Coronado. We would frequent 2 stores in particular. One was El Rey, was a grocery store, and then a Reba Smith. Now the Reba Smith had many goods that we were used to having stateside, and the El Rey, it was a local supermarket. They had more local, not really the things that we were used to, like cookie dough. But for example, a gallon of milk in the States right now runs you about $4. Over in Panama, it was $6, $7-ish, depending on where you shopped. But things like filet mignon, if you buy it as a whole tenderloin.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. We typically, in Florida would pay $15 to $20 for like a fancy, dinner. Well, $15 to $20 per pound for like steak fillets. And then in Panama, I think it was like typically $4 to $5 a pound, so substantially less. But in the end, it actually averaged out. We actually looked at our spending, and both eating out at restaurants and getting groceries, it ended up being about the same expenses as it was in the States. We actually had hoped by going to Panama we'd save money, but because of some of the things costing more and the restaurants weren't as cheap, we also were in a kind of a touristy expat area. Playa Coronado is very popular, has lots of options. There's even like a Papa John's pizza and some big chains there. With that though, you pay for those things. And so there weren't the good deals that we would get in some of the smaller towns.
And if we were a bit more savvy, there were plenty of markets, and if we ate more fruits and vegetables, I'm sure we could have cut costs exponentially.
Yeah, some great friends of ours we met there were actually really great role models in the fact of living simply. They live very frugally, and they were explaining that, like in Panama, there's almost always something edible that's right. Whether it's mangoes is a big one, but there's so many fruits and vegetables. And so if you wanted to save money, there's plenty of ways you can. One thing that keeps it pretty simple in Panama, the official currency, the Balboa, is actually pegged to the US dollar. So they actually interchangeably use Balboas and dollars. And so it was very easy when you're trying to price things and whatnot. $1 Balboa or $1, were same.
So after spending a few weeks getting around solely via taxis, we decided it was time to get a car. Now, Jesse really wanted just to buy a car because rentals were so expensive.
Yeah, most rentals are like 30 to 40 bucks a day for your mid to larger size cars or SUVs. And did the math, and I was like, we could just get a fun old beater car. Tucker could paint some flames on there and put his handprints on the car, and we could maybe donate it to somebody when we're done. The problem though is because we didn't have a permanent address there, and so trying to get the licenses and all the paperwork needed for the car would have been possible, but it would have taken a few days of going back and forth and a lot of work.
So as I mentioned initially, we used taxis, but that got a little bit tiresome. We were going to the grocery store, going to Coronado, which was about 15 minutes away, multiple times a week. And then we had family that was coming to visit, which would be a trip to Panama City and back. So we decided to rent a car. Now, however, I would recommend figuring out beforehand if that's something you think that you'll want. We didn't set aside money for the car rental, so it came as a little bit of a shock. But if you plan for it, and if you need it, then everything would work out. For those of you who have done international traveling, what were your cost experiences like? We'd love to hear if you have any savvy ways of saving money while you travel.
Be sure to check out our playlist with tons more information about traveling through Panama and Central America. Hey guys, I've created a website page just for all this information covered in the series. It's not accessible publicly, it's kind of a secret page just for our viewers. So the link is in the description below.
Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time.